Yesterday, the press secretary, Mr. Peskov, showed me this letter. We were having a working meeting, a working dinner with the president of Uzbekistan, to be honest, and I did not have time to look at it. This morning, Peskov slipped this paper to me again. I glanced through it briefly, but nevertheless several things caught my attention. Why do we need such agreements? So I said I did not see any point in a meeting. The only purpose for the Ukrainian side is to stop the advance of our armed forces.
Just a day after Zelensky publicly calls for a direct face-to-face meeting, Putin brushes off the idea, saying he doesn't see the point in sitting down under the current conditions. After Zelensky's dramatic open letter made headlines across Europe, Putin pours cold water on the prospect of talks, admitting he only skimmed the message and was unconvinced by its contents. With a shrug, Putin suggests peace talks are effectively dead on arrival, arguing that Zelensky's offer is really just an attempt to halt Russia's advance rather than to strike a genuine compromise. Moscow insists it has never refused negotiations in principle, yet Putin makes clear he thinks a leaders' summit would mainly help Kyiv, not Russia, casting the proposal as a tactical move by Ukraine.
As for the residents or the parade, that is not a personal matter for me. They provided us with information about it and said they knew I was not at the residence, and so on. Why they did this is another question. Yesterday, the press secretary, Mr. Peskov, showed me this letter. We were having a working meeting, a working dinner with the president of Uzbekistan, to be honest, and I did not have time to look at it. This morning, Peskov slipped this paper to me again. I glanced through it briefly, but nevertheless several things caught my attention. First, the author of the letter mentioned my age. What can I say? Of course, everyone should think about age. But it seems to me that at my age many other political figures are performing their duties, and some are older than I am. The main issue is not age, although it is, without doubt, important. The main issue is capability and effectiveness. Some of my colleagues, who, I repeat, are older, still demonstrate sufficient energy. Whether they do things well or badly is another matter, a political assessment, but in general they work actively. Then I paid attention to the question of time in office. This is, of course, an important matter, but you have to go to elections. You must not be afraid to go to elections, and you must always act within the framework of the basic law. Because if you hold power outside the framework of the Constitution, this is called usurpation of power, which is a criminal offense. Therefore, do not be afraid. You must go to elections, and this is what I would advise everyone, especially since in Ukraine they said that elections were coming soon, and then they fell silent. It is unclear why. Now, the author also notes that there is supposedly no need to follow the agreements reached in Anchorage, and that it is necessary instead to look for real guarantors of possible agreements between Russia and Ukraine in Europe. Reliable guarantors are, of course, always useful. They are not a hindrance. But why then do they deny such a role to the American administration and President Trump? I do not quite understand this. They want to receive weapons from the United States, but for some reason, they do not want to see the U.S. administration and President Trump as guarantors. This raises questions, and we all saw how Donald, in front of the whole world, was educating the author of this letter, pointing out the dress code and so on, constantly playing Rambo. First blood may be appropriate. This morning, I called this, let us say, colleague who had gone to Kyiv and asked him, "What does this mean? They ask for a meeting and at the same time commit such terrible crimes as the killing of children. What does this mean?" He replied, "I have no explanation. They are calling me again. I will talk to them and then let you know what they say." I said, "All right." I have not spoken to him again. And then came this letter you just mentioned. It really contains elements of rudeness. What is this? Is it a way of creating conditions for personal meetings and negotiations, or is it creating an environment in which holding any personal meetings becomes practically impossible? I think it is the latter. Therefore, one should address not the authors of this letter, not lovers of the epistolary genre, but our fighters at the line of combat contact. Addressing them, I want to say, comrade soldiers and sailors, comrade sergeants and petty officers, comrades officers, admirals and generals, the entire country is watching you. The entire country is proud of you and is relying on you. Keep working, brothers.
25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.